Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up. I made these cards with products from Stampin' Up. I sell the products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I'll have the directions for this project on my website. You'll see where to find that at the end of this video. So don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. I am using the new In colors that just came out in our new annual catalog. I'm using the Designer Series paper and the cardstock. So here's the card in Cinnamon Cider. Here it is in Misty Moonlight, Bumblebee, Just Jade, and Magenta Madness. My card base is Seaside Spray. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. You will need a piece of Whisper White, probably for the inside. This is a piece of Bumblebee that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I have a piece of the Designer Series paper that's 3 by 3. And this is the same paper, but just flipped over to the other side. By the way, did you see the designs in this paper? I think it's beautiful. There's kind of a I don't know, fabric or a denim kind of look. There's the polka dots. We've got a wood grain and then a print that says love what we do and share what we love in many languages. Stampin' Up! Demonstrators were able to order products ahead of time. And so I ordered Jar of Flowers, and it comes as a bundle with this mason jar punch. Love it. Unfortunately, we were not able to pre-order the ink. So I substituted. I am using Seaside Spray for the water in my jar, but I wanted to color the flowers in all the new In colors, and of course I can't. So I did what I could. This is Bumblebee. I used crushed curry and it's pretty close. For Misty Moonlight, there's really nothing that's really close. Night of Navy, but that was really too dark for what I wanted. So I just colored the flower with Seaside Spray to go with the card base. This is Just Jade. I use Shaded Spruce, which is very different. And this is Magenta Madness. This is Melon Mambo, which is not as bright and cheerful as I would have liked for this card. I wanted to color the inside of these flowers with Cinnamon Cider, but really I had no way of coloring them, and there's really nothing that's close. So I just left the flower centers white and didn't do any coloring with Cinnamon Cider or anything close. You will also need a piece of Whisper White that's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, and a piece of window sheet. This window sheet is 1 3/4 by 2 1/2. I have already folded the card base, and I can go ahead and adhere my card inside. There is a new, it's called Stampin' Seal and Stampin' Seal Plus that I cannot wait to try. There's a video that says no. You know how we have to pull it and then check it? The video says you don't have to check this new stuff, and I'm so excited. I decided to use this Designer Series paper size because I could cut out 3 by 3 squares and get 3 1 by 3 pieces from that 4th quarter of the paper. So it's really quite economical. I'm going to go ahead and adhere the big piece and I want the denim-y looking part on top. And so I'm just kind of centering it. There's about 1/8 of an inch around the top and sides. And then I wanted the dots on the bottom. Then I'm going to punch. I'm just going to really literally slide it all the way in, centered side to side, and punch. You could certainly use this for another project. Then on this piece, I want to stamp my jar. And I'm stamping that full strength. By the way, I wanted to show you that this is a reversible stamp, so you can stamp the solid image of the jar or the solid of this, and this is what I'm going to be doing, and the solid of the stripe. Stampin' Up! Is doing something new. I like to keep my stamps on top of the images, and so they have separated these out over here because this is really the reversibles. So you can stamp the stripes or you can stamp it as a solid, same as the jars. So they put the reversibles over here and the regular stamps over on this side. Love it. So we are using the reversibles, and all you have to do, I don't know if you can see it, this is the side we'd usually stamp with, and I'm just putting it with the smooth side on the outside. And then I'm going to ink it, and I want to stamp it off, and then stamp. And that shows my water in the jar. Again, I would be using just jade if I could. The stems on this are going to go all the way up to the rim or the threads on that jar. And then I'm going to quickly color in the stems. And then I am using smoky slate to stamp my flowers. And it's always best when you're using markers to color to start with your lightest color, which I suppose I should be starting with the blue, but I'm using, again, I would be using Bumblebee if I could. This is crushed curry, and I so wish I could color in the center of these flowers with the cinnamon cider. I would be using Magenta Madness if I could. You could also use Stampin' Blends for this, and Stampin' Blends are coming in, I think 3 of the new in colors. I should know that off the top of my head, but I do not yet. And then I'm just really quickly coloring in this blue flower. And I would be using Misty Moonlight if I could, and more shaded spruce. There's just a few of these regular leaves. And when you first color, it's darker than it will be, so you'll see the lines better as it dries. And for these little wispy fern pieces, I'm just using the bullet tip to there's nothing to color in, I'm just kind of doing little lines kind of about where those are. And then I am trying to color in these stems. I am I'm obviously not taking my time to do a very wonderful job of it. No one will notice, I don't believe. Now for this piece, I want to cut it so it's about the same size as the window sheet. And your cut lines will not show at all. And then I'm going to fussy cut this. I'm using some mini dimensionals, and you want to put them above the jar and below the jar on these corners, and then put the window sheet on top. I have a little bit of the ribbon, and I'm tying the ribbon around both pieces, and I think I finally figured out how to tie a bow if you're left-handed. Cross the ribbons right over left and go around and pull it tight with that ribbon going toward the bottom. I like to use my third hand, make a loop with that bottom, and go. I usually go around the wrong way, I think. Go around under and up and over and push it through the loop and pull it snug, and then take the third hand off and tighten it up and pull it tight and fluff. Make your loops a little bit smaller, and you can just kind of roll it around the card so it's centered. Trim it up, and then I'm leaving this down so it'll be out of the way. Adding some glue dots to the corners. They can go right over those mini dimensionals. And then just place this over the jar so your bottom piece doesn't need to be fitted or angled correctly, because the stamp and the punch are going to fit perfectly. And then I can just slide that bow up, and I want that bow to be covering up where the rings of the jar. Taking my flower and adding some more mini dimensionals and pop that really close. I can add some larger dimensionals. And just pop that on the front of my card. And that's really a pretty quick and easy card and you could certainly add a little tag that said happy birthday or whatever greeting you wanted to add. I wanted to show you one other option. For this option, we've got the same card base, we have the same Designer Series paper element, we have the same cutout flowers and the same ribbon, the same jar, but in this case we're going to add one of these mason jar domes, shaker domes, and you'll find those on page 158 in the new catalog, right next to these Flowers for Every Season gems. I am kicking myself because I did not buy these, but I did buy the dome. But I have done beading, and I am really missing the coordinating products. And these little beads are too tiny to work with, but you want to have them all pushed to the center of the jar and then take off the back backing. These mason jar domes have a back backing and a front backing, so I'm peeling off the back backing, and I'm going to attempt to get this right over the jar without being able to see exactly what I'm doing. There we go. And that seals them in for a shaker jar. And in this case, I'm going to just take off the front backing, if that makes any sense, and peel that off. And slide this over. And then I'll add the dimensionals. Perhaps I should be adding the minis. I meant to tie a bow around that whole jar. So if you tie a bow around this whole piece, it should work just the way it did before. But I'm going to tie this little cheaty bow. And we'll put that on with the glue dot. And give it a little trim. And we'll put the flowers on top. Just like before, we're going to put this on our card front. You could even make this fancier by stamping the flowers and cutting those out. Let's see if I can match those flowers. Then I could add those cinnamon cider flower centers with the 2022 in color enamel dots. So whether you make a card that's kind of flat and easy to mail, or if you want to make a more elaborate shaker card, it's all up to you. You can make it with products from Stampin' Up. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. And you'll find a PayPal button to order the card kit you saw in this video. Under Shop, I have tips for online shopping, frequent shopping rewards, and products I offer to help you stay organized. I offer a cardstock sampler, taggers to help you identify those dies with lots of similar shapes, heavy-duty bags to store 12 by 12 and 6 by 6 paper, a replacement tip for the fine tip glue pen in case yours gets clogged, and a bow maker. Share my Evernote notebook of current products for a nominal contribution. It functions as a fully searchable catalog. Inspiration takes you to all my projects. If you're new to stamping, you might want to look at the basics. You'll find how to cut card bases and layers, what's special about Stampin' Up stamps, and some of my favorite tools. Under Organization, you'll find catalog tabs, labels and case inserts, a practically free stamp pad storage solution, a basic toolkit, as well as a compact desktop toolbox, and lots of color charts. You can take a tour of my craft wall. More organization means more time for crafting. Come stamp with me here in Ventura County, California, or get the best deal of all and join my team of crafters. The team is called SIP Together, and it stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper Together. The team is made of crafters who want to save money on the products they buy, share with a few friends, or grow a business like mine. Be sure to subscribe to my website and on YouTube. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you for joining me. Talk to you soon. Bye.